We are back with I Still Believe in Cleveland podcast. What an incredible weekend. I don't know if we expected to see this game, but the Browns pulling out a win that we normally lose when it looked like things were not going to go our way. We saw this field goal attempt from the 49ers. No good. The Browns pull out the victory. The crowd went wild. A strange crowd there. There was quite a few 49ers fans in the crowd early on. And there was quite a few angry Browns fans that we saw in the crowd as well. But we are moving on. Drew, we've got the Colts this week in a stretch where the Browns need to win these upcoming games. But how are the Colts looking in this next week?
Yeah, first of all, big thank you to Michigan man Jake Moody. Appreciate you. Thank you, Harbaugh. Always a pleasure. That was a game that we have seen too often go the other way, and it was wonderful to be on the other end of a missed field goal for once. So big fan of that. All it took was me completely losing faith in the entire team. You're welcome, Internet. I'll see what I can do. In terms of the flipping the page to the next team, the Indianapolis Colts. Bummed that Anthony Richardson is out for the season. That is, nobody wants to see that. Everybody wanted to see him. He has been a bit of a revelation. Everybody said he was going to be this big project coming out, and he looked excellent. And I was hoping to get a chance to see him. And even if that meant the game was harder, I'm always excited to see a good young quarterback. So feel bad about not getting to see him, but not going to shed a tear for another team dealing with injuries. In terms of the Colts, they also have lost their nose tackle, Grover Stewart. He's started almost every game for them for the last, it's probably been almost 7 years. He was popped for PEDs. He'll be out for, I believe it's 6 or 7 games. So former Brown Taven Bryan, one of the lead contenders to replace him, the man who wasn't good enough to even be invited back to training camp, may start at nose tackle for the Colts. So hoping we can attack that particular position. This is a team that's coming off a game where they asked Gardner Minshew to throw the ball 55 times in a 20-37 loss to the Jaguars, as predicted by yours truly, not the 55 times, but the Jaguars to win that game. So if the Browns can force this team to throw the ball anywhere close to that many times, I expect the Browns to win in a rout. Now, I don't think it's going to get to that. I think they have a decent offensive line and they have 2 good running backs. So I'm looking to see if they're going to try to establish that. And if so, I'm looking forward to seeing how the defense answers.
Yeah, Minshew, going back to watch some of the clips from the game against the Jaguars, Minshew just threw the ball and it seemed like there might be something wrong with his hand, or like you can't blame it on the weather. He had a couple of floaters that he was throwing to the Jags, 3 interceptions in this game. Minshew, really poor game for him. But Eric, our defense, I'm sure, will be excited to face a quarterback who is struggling. But the question is usually, what is this Browns offense going to do? We don't know if Deshaun is going to start. What are your expectations for the Browns offense this weekend?
If I could just put on my scouting / GM goggles on. Yeah, it looked like he didn't set his feet there. I'd like to think that the defensive line can help do that again this week, not actually get in a good rhythm. So I like our confidence there based on 5 seconds worth of a clip, but we'll see what happens. Looking at the Browns offense, you saw what the Jags didn't really do well, but they still won by 17 points. They only had 181 yards passing, 148 net after the 3 sacks they took, and only 85 yards on the ground. And Trevor Lawrence also threw an interception. So it wasn't like he had a clean game. The bottom line was they were +3 in the turnover margin. Not only did Minshew have the 3 interceptions, he also lost a fumble. So regardless of whoever's under center, the Browns must be smart with the ball, take whatever the defense gives them and get points in the red zone, preferably touchdowns, but not silly throws as we saw on second down last week in the red zone with under 2 minutes. So just be smart with the ball regardless of who's in there. Now, obviously, if Watson's healthy enough, I expect him to hit the receivers in stride a lot better than what we saw last week with PJ Walker, and avoid those high risk throws. I mean, unfortunately, we did see a couple of those bouncers from Watson earlier this year and last year, but I'm hoping he's cleaned that up since the Titans game. I know he's been off for a couple of weeks. But if it is indeed Walker, I have faith that Stefanski and Van Pelt could come up with a conservative game plan similar to what we saw. Cooper was his main target and he hit him in stride multiple times. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to connect with Elijah Moore as many times as we were hoping, especially the one play where he was wide open around midfield in the fourth quarter. But especially with the defensive lineman being out for the Colts, I would expect the interior trio Posick, Teller, and Batonio to kind of, push that pocket down the field as best as they can.
Definitely looking for a quarterback who's not going to be throwing multiple interceptions. That's been our downfall. It's unbelievable that our defense has kept us in games when the opposing team has had quite a few points off of turnovers, capitalizing on those interceptions, usually with very good field position off of those. So if it's PJ Walker, be more protective of the ball. Kareem Hunt really has stepped up his game. He's looking like he's back to form, even surpassing last year's form. So great to have Kareem out there. Jerome Ford, as you mentioned. Whoever is at quarterback, Browns need to find a way to win this Sunday. Would love it for it to be Deshaun, but we'll see this week.